All right, Shalom, Yash Allah, peace be unto the nation of Israel, whom are the modern day so called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and speckled bird Israelites, otherwise known as the Israelite foreigners, scattered across the four corners of the earth, including within America, Babylon, and Great. And we are the Most High Yahweh's chosen people of the nation of Israel. All right, and with that, I just want to go ahead and utter it in the Paleo or ancient Hebrew. Call Halayim La Yahweh Bahashim Mashiach Yahweh Shabarach Kodash, which is all praise to the Heavenly Father Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten and anointed Son Yahweh Shai, in the Holy Spirit, who is our strength and our Redeemer and our light and our salvation. Also in the same tongue, I want to go ahead and utter Mashina, Kabwadim Lahasakwanium, Shal Gadababakab, meaning double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, the true shepherds of Israel, along with the like-minded Sequani will occupy across the four corners of the earth, also pushing the sound doctrine, faith, and sincerity. And lastly, when we go ahead and utter in the same tongue, call Allah my Yahweh Slaki. I want to go ahead and utter to the 144,000 elect governing body of the house of David. All right, in Hebrew, which is by Yashadawadah, the house of David, representing the 144,000 elect governing body of the house of David, along with the rest of the one-third elect men, women, and children of Israel. All right, and can't say this enough. Call Allah my Yahweh Shema Mashaka Vishabra Kodash for the inspiration granted on to me to do this lesson with another edition of Global Events and End Time Prophecy of the date of July 26, 2023. Then a few secular events filtered to biblical prophecy, including the road to the mark of the beast, the next major prophecy, which is the microchip technology, okay, which will eventually lead us into this last major prophecy that will take place, which is Harmageddon, all right, the valley of or in this case this last world's war, okay, that would take place in the Middle East, prophesied in Joel the third chapter. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and bring out these articles and filter everything to biblical prophecy. And Adam Ratazah, this is for the edifying his word into the elect. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with this first article on tokenist.com. And it says Russia to allow use of digital ruble from August. It says President Putin has approved the use of a digital ruble for payments in Russia starting from August 1st. It says Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed the country's digital ruble bill into law, giving authority to the Bank of Russia as a central bank digital currency platform operator. The bill will allow the country's central bank to commence tests of the CBDC starting August 1st. Now, this is of the further developments of the de-dollarization of the global petrodollar. All right, which is necessary in order for the wicked elite international crime banking families to justify this global monetary reset, okay, which requires the collapsing of the U.S. national economy, okay, which is well over $32 trillion in debt. All right, so these other nations are contributing into the de-dollarization of the petrodollar by submitting their application to join the BRICS Union, by looking to further strengthen, the BRICS alternative currency, okay, backed by gold, okay, to further de-dollarize the petrodollar's, global leverage in terms of international payments and transactions on behalf of international trade and so forth. All right. So continuing on, it says how will Russia's CBDC work? So the digital ruble infrastructure will be managed and maintained by the Bank of Russia. The central bank will control all stored assets and act as a primary operator of the infrastructure rather than commercial banks. Says the new law specifies that the digital ruble is intended for payments and money transfers only, not investments. It will serve as a new form of payment alongside cash and non-cash rubles. Says here in a statement, Bank of Russia Governor Elvira Nabulina mentioned that Russian citizens don't need to use the CBDC. Instead, individuals will be free to choose whether or not to adopt a digital ruble. All right, so it says it goes into in this paragraph here, what actually influenced the development of Russia's, ruble, a digital ruble currency, and it was by way of Western sanctions in the midst of this Ukraine proxy war, as mentioned here. So it says, however, the concept of a digital ruble gained significant momentum following the imposition of sanctions by the U.S. and its allies. The outbreak of the war in Ukraine further highlighted the importance of implementing the digital ruble to address the impact of Western sanctions, leading to an urgent push to launch the central bank's digital currency. All right. So it says both houses of Russia's parliamentary swiftly passed legislation for the digital ruble bill. Russia's State Duma, the country's lower house of parliament, passed the digital ruble bill on July 11th. The Federation Council, the upper house, approved it on July 19th. And it says here, can Russia use the CBDC to dodge sanctions? It says they can use digital ruble to facilitate domestic and international payments, overcoming the current sanctions restricting access to the international banking system. However, the success of using the digital ruble for international transactions will depend on the willingness of other countries to accept it without requiring conversion to dollars. And that goes into why, as it recently is reported, that the BRICS union slash nation is looking to invite 69 different leaders to this August BRICS summit. Okay, in which those leaders, the invitation of those leaders omits Western countries, because Russia, China, and these other BRICS union members, okay, are done with the involvement and association with this Western philosophy. And this is why, on the morality and integrity standpoint, as of recently, Vladimir Putin of Russia signed a law banning sex changes in Russia. Okay, obviously condemning further, within these measures, political measures and such, further, condemning the sexual decadence of America. And China has followed suit, which you can see here. Okay, so this further, indication that these BRICS nations, are done with the West. All right, and this is why they are preparing for war. Okay, because the beginning of these wars are economically based. Okay, and that much more further for the fact that these wicked international crime banking families funded these wars. Okay, which they refer to as banking wars. Okay, now that's why they got caught, they got exposed with their weapons transactions, their weapons distributions to Al Qaeda. Flaunting around with U.S. weapons back in 2021, when they were supposedly behind that, behind that attack in 2001. So these devils are being further exposed within their satanic council. All right, and these nations are further contributing to the downfall of this satanic Western council of this Edomite hegemony. So I'm going to start off with this first precept in the book of Ezekiel 28:3, and it says, "Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from me," because our forefather Daniel was known for, interpreting visions. Okay, through the spirit and inspiration and power from on high. Okay, by Rakakadash, by Shemashai. Okay, so Esau Edom is wiser than our forefather Daniel on the left hand side with his enchantments. Okay, directed towards his devices, man. Which is what that new movie on Netflix, they clone Tyrone, is about. How these devils have used their satanic devices to condition the minds of the captives of Jerusalem. Okay, the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American Indians predominantly. Okay, their main threat to the satanic NWO through their devices, man. All right, through the food. Okay, genetically modifying the food, through the fluoride in the water, the chemicals in the food and the hair products, and the idiot box. Okay, broadcasting vibrations of Satan through the sodomy, through the whoredom, and so forth. Okay, to keep our people desensitized under the conditions of slavery, to follow to adhere to the wicked in all of their ways. Okay, which is further lined up with Deuteronomy 28 and 48, verses 48 to 50. Okay, and this is further why Esau Edom is wiser than Dan on the left hand side through his witchcraft. All right, his soothsaying witchcrafts, like it says in the book of Micah, the 5th chapter. It says in Ezekiel 28 and 4, "With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and has gotten gold and silver into thy treasuries," to the treasuries, rather, Slakia. And he's done so through his carnal measures of usurping Western authority over the world, for further prophesied in Isaiah 14 and 6. Okay, through his blessing and sword. Okay, which is how he, which is why, the war, so-called, war on terrorism happened, down there in Iraq, down there in Afghanistan. Okay, which was under the guise of democracy. They were actually down there to seize resources. Okay, just like which was the same purpose of them, invading America during the Spanish Inquisition and such accounts of secular history. Okay, so, seizing these resources from the Northern Kingdom of Israel, so-called indigenous peoples, man. Okay, hence the gold they got from the so-called Taino Indians from the tribe of Ephraim. Okay, stealing their gold from them, stealing the gold, silver, and cattle from Issachar, so-called Mexicans in the 16th century under the invasion of the conquistadors and under what's his name, Hernan Cortez. Okay, case in point. All right, that's why they got they got this gold. They got a lot of this gold in these banking vaults. Okay, down in UK and so forth. Right, and that's why they removed the gold standard from the petrodollar to control people through this debt-based currency. Okay, to contributing to the downfall and collapse of this American economy to further justify this global monetary reset under this fourth industrial revolution. Okay, to replace fiat money of these FRNs with CBDCs, man. Part of this AI framework precursor to the market of beast, which is the microchip technology, and this is why these insiders like the German banker Richard Werner, have further exposed the fact that they're looking to have these CBDCs chipped inside of people, man. Okay, containing people's banking and medical records. Okay, identification and so forth. Okay, so it says in verse 5, by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. All right, and this is why in the book of Sirach, chapter 5, verse 1, Salakia, go ahead and get that real quick. It says, set not thy heart upon thy goods, and say not, I have enough for my life. Follow not thine own mind and thy strength to walk in the ways of thy heart, which is the mind. And Esau's mind is corrupted by Satan, because he is a physical counterpart of Satan, doing the bidding of Satan, destroying the earth. Okay, like it says in St. John 10:10, all right, Revelation the 6th chapter, for example. All right, so this is Sirach 5:3, and it reads, and say not, who shall control me for my works? For the Lord, Yahweh by Shemashai, will surely revenge thy pride. Okay, and there's none other nation more proud, vile, and profane, lascivious, and covetous than Esau Edom. Okay, because he has a scarcity mindset, and that lines up with the prophecy in Sirach, chapter 12, verse 16 and 17. It says he will not even be satisfied with blood, because that's how much yearning for carnal success and dominance, controls his members, man. That cannot be mortified, because his soul was not to be lifted upright in him, and that's why he is the disease of the earth, like it says in Sirach 10 chapter, that must be extinguished by by the natural remedy. Okay, the main authentic remedy, Hamashiach Hawashai, whom was the word. Okay, the purifier in his physical form, Hamashiach Hawashai, that will purify this world of Esau Edom, man. Okay, and he's doing so right now through the word, which Yahushua is. Okay, and this is why Yahushua said, if they kept your word, they kept your sayings, if they kept my sayings, they keep yours also. Okay, which is why he also went on to say, if he said that the servant was not above his Lord, not above his master. So if they persecuted me, they persecute you also. Why? Because of the evil that Yahushua testified on behalf of these devils, man. Spoke about in the book of St. John, I believe in the 7th chapter. Okay, so by way of Esau's carnal aspirations, he's going to be further exposed. Okay, and this is why, even though he will further contribute into that. Okay, because the Heavenly Father Yahweh has given this devil over to his own derisions to make him believe that he will be successful with the satanic NWO. Okay, meanwhile, the terrible nation will be used to further contribute to the downfall of this American empire of Babylon the Great. That leads me to this little news clip, or this video here. I'm about to go and play a few minutes of, okay, tying into the topic of the epistle here. All right. Fair use.
Welcome to Asian Quick Take. I'm Jacob. As the U.S. federal debt continues to soar, doubts about the supremacy of the U.S. dollar are growing worldwide. Several countries are accelerating their efforts to reduce reliance on the dollar by selling U.S. Treasury bonds, repatriating gold reserves, and promoting the development of digital currencies. This global collaboration aims to challenge U.S. hegemony. In this wave of transformation, gold reserves and digital currencies play crucial roles, paving the way for the reshaping of the global economic order. The U.S. federal debt has reached nearly $32.5 trillion, with Japan and China being the largest creditors. Within just over a month since the debt ceiling was raised in early June, an additional $1 trillion of debt has accumulated.
What is the real story of January 6th? Many people have asked that question. Some people have described what happened on that day as an insurrection.
According to Wall Street institutions, issuing $1.7 trillion in new bonds will be necessary to balance expenditures. This turbulence poses potential risks to U.S. Treasury bonds and the U.S. banking sector. The impact on the U.S. financial system caused by the tightening of the U.S. credit market will ultimately weaken the financial reputation and status of the U.S. dollar. Once the dollar loses its status, the debt-dependent financial model of the United States will rapidly disintegrate. Wise central banks worldwide, including U.S. allies and emerging economies, are speeding up the liquidation of U.S. Treasury bonds, shaking the logic of the U.S. debt-based economy and weakening the currency dividend of the U.S. dollar. This partially explains why U.S. Treasury Secretary Yellen requested China to purchase U.S. Treasury bonds last week. Over 100 countries globally are striving for de-dollarization. The once perilous debt ceiling crisis, which occurs every few years in the United States, has eroded people's trust in the dollar and damaged its financial advantage.
And this is why Yellen, was further pushing for, the raising the debt ceiling, because it's projected that at the end of the year, the U.S. will owe China $1 trillion worth of this debt that China has been, predominantly purchasing through these treasury bonds they were pointing out here. Okay, so the likes of China and Japan owns the majority of Americans' debt, and that's why China, China especially China's leader Xi Jinping is so proud towards America, because they know that they have leverage over America. Okay, especially on behalf of their gold-backed currency they're further developing here. Okay, over there in that case rather. Okay, so this is gonna, and this is why here, it's reported that invited 69 leaders to August summit, excluding or omitting Western countries. You see, it says the BRICS economic bloc has invited 69 leaders to its upcoming summit, including all African heads of state and the political heads of major global South bodies. More than 40 countries have expressed interest to join the BRICS group, with 22 nations already having submitted official applications. We've never had such a large outreach, said South Africa's diplomat in charge of BRICS relations. All right. So in that BRICS summit that'll take place, expected to take place at the end of next month, they're expected to have 69 different invitations from these countries. Okay, so their leverage is further, crippling the Western dominance on behalf of this Edomite Western hegemony, on behalf of the wicked international crime banking families. Okay, through this hammer of the earth, prophesied in Jeremiah the 50th chapter, being America. Okay, she's being made cut asunder. Okay, through the spirit of bondage. Okay, disintegrating from this place, from modern day Egypt. This is prophesied in Isaiah the 19th chapter. Okay, Egypt meaning bondage. Okay, and this place is a place of bondage, man. Okay, in every sense of the word. Okay, holding people in bondage under the Social Security tax, but because these Social Security numbers are like, is essentially our barcodes, like on the back of a product. Okay, which further confirms, even though there's no petition for us to be taxed by these devils. Okay, we're subjected to bondage. We're subjected to payments, like it says in Baruch the 3rd chapter. Okay, through this debt-based currency, the petrodollar, that's ironically being further depreciated by America's enemies. Okay, so leads me to this next article on CNBC.com. It's entitled "Elon Musk X rebrand reignites his goal to turn Twitter into an app like China's WeChat." Because China's WeChat is it's been turned into or converted into like an international, or more of a universal platform. Okay, including the capabilities of completing transactions and so forth. Okay, so it's going to further explain why that's significant and how it's it's associated with this fourth industrial revolution. So it says Elon Musk officially changed Twitter's famous bird logo as an X. in his bid to make the service into the Everything app. Okay, it goes on to say Musk's goal is to transform X into a super app, which was pioneered in China and has taken off in other parts of Asia. 1.3 billion users is likely Musk's inspiration as a billionaire in the past is called the Chinese app great. All right. So they want to turn, they want to turn Twitter, which is now X, into an everything app, and it's going to further elaborate on what that entails, right? So it says when Elon Musk was in the process of buying Twitter last year, there was a lot of debate about his plans for the app. In October, the billionaire said buying Twitter was an accelerant to creating X, the everything app, without providing further details, but it did spark comparisons with China's WeChat, the messaging service run by Chinese giant Tencent. All right, jumping down here. Says, here's a point in this paragraph. It says, in the months to come, we will add comprehensive communications and ability to conduct, get this shit out of the way if I can. It says, to conduct your entire financial world. You see that? Musk said late Monday, reiterating that the acquisition took place to accelerate the move toward the everything app. Just like overseas, they have these different international platforms of completing international transactions. So that's essentially what they wanted to turn Twitter into, okay, which is now X, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, X is a that's part of the Greek alphabet. Okay, yeah, so in the Greek alphabet, X is actually the symbol for the letter chi, okay, which is a part of which is essentially used as a prefix for the word Christ. So it's not a coincidence because what's it say in St. Matthew? How there will arise false Christ, false anointed ones, false spiritual leaders, if you will. Okay, which are these ministers of Satan prophesied in 2 Corinthians 11 chapter, man. Okay, including these philanthropists, including those with a technological background. Okay, like the nerd from Microsoft, for example. Yeah, so that Greek, the Greek, the X symbol in the Greek alphabet is of the letter chi, okay, which is used to abbreviate Christ, the so-called name Christ. See that? So we're not ignorant of these devil devices, man. All right, and that leads me to this next this next article. There's actually another article I want to bring out. Let me see. Salakia. Yeah, there's actually another article. Let me go ahead and hit my Twitter real quick before I continue. Or X as it's called now. Salakia. All right. So I'm going to get this article here. It says, this is on End Time Headlines, and it's entitled, has arrived. Just get your eyes scanned by the orb and your new world ID will be issued to you. Okay, what is a further reminder of the movie by Tom Cruise known as called Minority Report. And that's part of Esau Edom's Hegelian dialectic through his predictive programming, man. Telling the world what he was planning to unleash and unveil within the earth within the satanic NWO agenda through his AI technology and so forth. Okay, before he would actually do it. So it says, have you had your eyes scanned by the orb yet? All it takes is just one trip, and once your biometric data is in a database, you will receive some free money and a new digital identity that you will be able to use all over the internet. Doesn't that sound grand? As you will see below, hundreds of thousands of people in Europe have already signed up. Those that have created WorldCoin intended for it to be a new identity and financial network that is owned by everyone on the entire planet. The following comes directly from the official WorldCoin website. More than 3 years ago, we founded WorldCoin ambition of creating a new identity and financial network. See that? A new identity and financial network, okay? Owned by everyone. And that's part of their convenience aspect of their agenda through the miracles prophesied in Revelation 16 chapter, okay? But they would push, transhumanism on behalf of AI. Okay, the idea of being one's own God by through these vain miracles, like being able to open up a car door or a building door with the wave of your hand, being able to make a phone call with the wave of your hand, being able to make a complete transaction with the wave of your hand. Okay, like what was further mentioned in that predictive programming movie by Emma Watson from Harry Potter, known as The Circle. You see that? So that's what they want to develop, a new identity, based carbon footprint currency, digital currency, capable of holding one's financial records within its financial network. Okay, under their quantum physics, quantum computing technology, and so forth, where they want to regulate the human experience, like which what they discuss annually within the World Economic Forum Satanic Council, where they want to regulate everyone's human experience through this technology. Okay, to further play God on earth, like it says in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4, on behalf of Esau, Edom, self-proclaimed white man. Okay, and this is the further legacy of so-called white supremacy, Edomite supremacy. Okay, to act out on that God complex on earth, and that's what this is all about. And that's why his Satanic Council is going to be disappointed by Yahweh by Shemashai. Okay, because it's like it says here in Ezekiel the 28th chapter. Okay, go back to Ezekiel. Okay, I'm going to continue on. It says in verse 6 here, therefore thus said the Lord God Yahweh, because thou hast set thine heart as a heart of the heart of God. You can see here. Okay, behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. And that's exactly what Russia and China mainly are doing on behalf of these, the BRICS alliance. Okay, as we can see here. Okay. And the information brought out in this video. Okay, and that's why all this gold is being purchased. All right, so so going back to the precept, Ezekiel 28, and what is the brightness of Esau Edom through America, Babylon the Great? This that Western philosophy, okay, including the democracy, the bureaucracy, the alphabet soup aspect of their agenda through promoting sexual decadence and whoredom. Okay, so this is all being defiled. Ezekiel 28 and 8. They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas, because they are going to achieve this through this last world's war. Which leads me to this next article. Okay, on BusinessInsider.com, which is entitled "China is sending enough military gear, including drones, to Russia to equip an army, thanks to a loophole in the West attempts to stop Putin's war machine," report says. Okay, so it says Russian buyers are ordering significant amounts of Chinese military equipment, Politico reported. The country has imported over $100 million worth in drones from China this year alone, the report said. China is using loopholes for equipment that can have both civilian and military uses, said. Get the inside scoop on today's biggest stories in business from Wall Street to Silicon Valley, delivered daily. Okay. So they've imported over $100 million worth in military drones from China this year alone. So obviously they're in support of Russia and his Ukraine proxy war. And that's been further made abundantly clear. Okay. Now it makes matters worse. It's reported on MSN.com, as you can see here, Russian military delegation arrives in North Korea to join Chinese. So obviously North Korea is involved in this alliance as well. They're not a part of BRICS, but they're aligned with the BRICS Union because North Korea is Little Moab. Okay. So they further seek counsel under China. Okay. So it says a Russian delegation led by Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu has arrived in North Korea. The ministry said late on Tuesday, joining a Chinese group as the first such public visitors to the country since the start of the pestilence. The two delegations will take part in the celebration of the 70th anniversary of Victory Day on Thursday in Pyongyang. State media agency KCNA reported with Chinese Communist Party Politburo member Li Hongzhong lead Beijing group. Russia's defense ministry said it has been invited by its North Korean counterpart. I got to highlight this, man. They've been invited by the North Korean counterpart and would attend the Victory Day events. This will help strengthen Russian, North Korean military ties. It will be an important stage in the development of cooperation between the two countries, the ministry said in a statement. That further aligns with a prophecy in Ezekiel 38 chapter, how Russia will be used as a further guard to these nations that will seek refuge under Russia from Western interference in their sovereignty. Okay? So that further lines up with Jeremiah the 49th chapter, how you devil will be surrounded, okay, with terror and within this last world's war, because these 200 million thermonuclear missile warheads that you were afraid to contribute into firing will leave a besom of destruction within this destroying wind of thermonuclear fire and radiation that will consume America, Babylon the Great, and leave this wicked ass sinful kingdom neither root nor branch for her sins reaching the heavens, man. Okay, promoting all kinds of madness in this place. Okay, so and through the Spirit is reported on clock.com that 2 soldiers based out of the El Paso area down here in the Fort Bliss military base had sought refuge to North Korea. So what is that further indicative of, man? People are starting to see the error in the empire of America, because the overall morale of this place is depreciating, man. It's further diminishing, rather. Okay. All right. So it says American soldiers that ran into North Korea have been stationed at Fort Bliss. All right, by the name of Travis King, age 23 years old, who recently served 2 months in a South Korean prison for alleged assault charges. So he ended up making a run to North Korea, ultimately because he didn't want to come back to this place. All right, so it says the last individual to try to defect to North Korea was done in 2015. It says back in 2014, a native El Paso named Arturo Pierre Martinez tried to defect to North Korea. He definitely tried to defect. We know this because he gave press conference in North Korea to denounce the U.S., and this is an American citizen, and tried to convince them to let him stay. It didn't go well. So North Korea, despite his efforts, North Korea said, nah, F you, man. You're a Babylonian. Get the fuck out of here. And that further confirms that in his last world's war, man, these nations, including these blue helmet United Nations troops, are going to show you Babylonians here in America and without throughout the West absolutely no mercy. Which lines with Isaiah 13 and 17, man, how they're going to be ransacking people's homes, ravishing the women, okay, and so forth. That's how horrible is going to get in America, Babylon Great, because this place is falling apart, as you can see here. But by way of the open rebuke, a condemnation rather, against America by these BRICS nations and so forth. Okay, and this is why you devils are starting to you're being further exposed in totality, man. Through every aspect of your rulership, including through this pharmakia business, which you can see here on RollingStone.com, what it says here. It says Tori Kelly rushed to hospital due to you know what. Okay, dealing with the dragon juice, hokey pokey. Okay. All right. And of course, shot time got to throw some distractions here, so let me get rid of this. It says she reportedly collapsed at a restaurant Sunday night and is being treated for you know what, and her legs and lungs. See, and this is a coincidence. This is reported shortly after what happened to LeBron's son. He's going to bring that up. He's going to bring that up. So you see the same individual here, singer. And that's fair judgment on you women too. You proud. Look at this shit. This is why America's on the brink. America, Babylon the Great, is on the brink of destruction because of the madness they promote here. Anyway, I digress. What was I looking for? Oh yeah, okay, Slakia, right here. Now, peep what this says. I'm going to highlight it. See? So essentially what happened to that female, that singer, happened to this, to LeBron's son. For reasons as disclosed right here. So he has sacrificed his son to Baal, you know, whether or not that sacrifice actually fully manifests within the detriment of his son, this guy is a damn boule Freemasonic sellout. Fred lining up with First Maccabees 1 around the 10th verse to the 11th verse. How you had sellouts back there in the beginning of so-called white supremacy within the Greek Hellenistic period. Okay, history is repeating itself because Jake has no honor. Why? Because they're Sodom's children. Okay, and they have forgotten their maker, Yahweh by Shem Yashai, so they will die on this side. Okay, those who for those whose lot that was, intended for Yahweh by Shem Yashai to have fulfilled. All right, so this place, America, Babylon Great, is completely circling the drain, and like it says in Jeremiah 51, we would have healed Babylon, but she cannot be healed. Okay, matter of fact, let me get that Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah 51. Go back here in verse 7. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Okay, and I believe, go ahead, continue. And that wine is that West philosophy that made these nations mad. That's why they're deferring from their involvement in this Western philosophy, including transactions with the West, by the terms of the West, by accepting these sanctions and tariffs and so forth. This is Jeremiah 51 and 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen, destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reaching into heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. The Lord Yahweh had brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord Yahweh our power. And this is what the prophets are doing out there in the highways and hedges. Instant in season, out of season. Verse 11 says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes for his devices against Babylon, to destroy it because of the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. Okay, so he's going to use the modern day king of the Medes, these Russians, all right, to shoot their nukes against this place, all right, including their P-800, their P-800 Onyx missiles that has been further revealed that Ukraine cannot stop. Okay, it further confirms that NATO can't stop those weapons either. Okay, so hey man, the likes of this caliber weaponry on behalf of the indignation of the Lord's weapons of his indignation, and Isaiah the 54th chapter will be shot here to America to destroy this place. See, the most terrible of the nations will accomplish that. So this is Habakkuk 2 and 4. And it reads, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. And this is why they can make vain, wicked statements like, slavery benefited, you blacks on behalf of Ron DeSantis, and I claim that devil for slavery, Adam Ratazah. Okay. Because they speak lawfully concerning our oppression. Why? Because they despise Heavenly Father and his saints. Okay. His royal seed, the royal priest of Israel. And this is why what they're planning right now is ultimately to remove the remembrance of Israel from the earth. Okay, by controlling everything that we rely on for our livelihood's sake. Okay, even to the point of our detriment. Okay, by utilizing biological warfare and biochemical warfare to destroy us, which what that movie they clone Tyrone is about. So back in Habakkuk 2 and 5, yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man. Need to keep it at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathered into him all nations, and heaped into him all people. And this is what he's done. Okay, through these proxy wars. Okay, including the one in Yugoslavia, the one in Syria. Okay, the one in Ukraine going back to 2014, even up until this point. Okay, all right, including all these proxy wars and these major wars in this day and age. Esau Edom has had his hand on it. Okay, he is a proud man, refusing to keep it home. Why? Because the self-proclaimed white man Esau Edom is a natural vagabond. He has no authentic home to claim as his own, including America. America don't belong to you devils; it belongs to the Northern Kingdom. Okay, because they dwelt here first. because she had the audacity to set up a border in the 19th century to fight off the French, and then have the Caucasians, I like to say in this modern day age, to blame blame it on the northern tribes that you kicked out of their own land. Okay, and there's also lines with Micah the second chapter. Habakkuk 2:6, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, and that Hebrew word there for clay is abadia, meaning debt. That's why America is well over $32 trillion in debt. The majority of that debt belongs to China. Further confirms that at any given point, this place is getting ready to collapse, man. That's why, as a result of that Black Sea grain deal being ended by Russia, you had them Elamites down there in Dallas, Texas, panic buying, okay, wheat and so forth. So this is Habakkuk 2:7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and that shall be for booties into them, spoils of war? Shall you Edomites be into these nations? I mean, they're going to devour you by spoiling your goods. Verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Okay, and they're doing so by de-dollarizing the petrodollar. Okay, by cutting off international ties with you, geoeconomically speaking. Okay, you know, and which is ironic because America is essentially the largest consumer and importer from Chinese goods. China understands that. And further confirms that they're all in on it, man. Because China and Russia are World Economic Forum partners, along with the U.S. to the wicked international crime banking families, but they're still at odds with each other. Because like that lines with Psalm the second chapter, where it says, "Why do the heathen rage and imagine a vain thing?" Because none of you nations are going to rule this earth next, other than Yasha. Because the earth shall be given to the hands of the meek. You heathen nations are not meek. This is St. Mark 3:27. No man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. And these heathen nations, the terrible nations, have binded you Edomites through these de-dollarization tactics of war. Okay, by diminishing the ties of you devils having their goods exported to you. Okay, and the measures on how you would complete these international transactions to the petrodollar. Now they're further influencing these other nations to further cut you off and further rely on them. So who's gonna really purchase your oil? Who's gonna really purchase your who's gonna really deal with you? Okay, by exporting their goods to you, using you as a whore that you are to further boost their sovereign morale in terms of international business. Now they don't need you anymore. Now they're cutting you off as a middleman, and they're dealing amongst themselves. And that's how they further bind the strong man through his pockets. Just like you've done to us. Okay, like it says in Psalm 10:2, let the wicked be taken in device that they have imagined. Use these same tactics against the poor. Okay, destroying the buffalo supply to further starve out the Gadites, so-called Native American Indians. Right. Further attacking our establishments like Black Wall Street, because you couldn't stand to see us triumph without your ass. Now these other nations are taking a page out of your own book. Okay, and this is of the downfall of Babylon the Great as we see it. So this is a song. This is a Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5. I'm going to start at verse 15. And it reads, but the righteous live forevermore. Their reward also is with the Lord Yahweh by Shemashai, and the care of them is with the Most High Yahweh. And the care of Esau Edom is not with the Most High, because why? His thoughts do not contain the Most High God Yahweh at all, like it says in Psalm 10:4. So it goes on to say here in the next verse, therefore shall they receive a glorious kingdom and a beautiful crown from the Lord Yahweh by Shemashai's hand. For with his right hand shall he cover them, and with his arm shall he protect them, because he shall be a shield and buckler to those who call on him, man. Like it says in Nahum 1 and 7, Psalm the 91st chapter, and so forth. Okay, Psalm 34 and 7. Okay, and a plethora of other precepts. Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 17 says, he shall take to him his jealousy for a complete armor and make the creature his weapon for the revenge of his enemies. And the lines up with Ezekiel 25 and 14, Isaiah 41 and 15, Micah, the 3rd chapter, and so forth. How we will be the weapon of Yahweh by Shem Shai, okay, to beat the heathen small into powder. And that's part of our righteous reward. Getting revenge on our enemies for what they've done to us. Looking to, mutually and conglomerately destroy the nation of Israel by erasing our existence from earth, including controlling narratives of our history, which is why they have sought out to remove their dark past of their hands in our secular history of slavery. Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 18 says, he shall put on righteousness as a breastplate and true judgment instead of an helmet. He shall take holiness for an invisible shield. And that lines with Ephesians 6 chapter. And here's the point, Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 20. His severe wrath shall he sharpen for a sword, and the world shall fight with him against the unwise. The world shall fight with Hamashiach Yahushai and the elect, okay, against the unwise, because this is going into the reward of the elect. He who will put a trust in Yahweh by Shem Shai of the 144,000 elect governing body of Bayasha Dawadah will be used, okay, to further wage war against these heathen nations, man. So we would get in on the sting, so to say, spiritually speaking, Adam Ratazah, myself included, okay, in these last days, okay, because the whole world will fight against you devils, okay, which we currently see as a further ensign within these nations. All right, we're going to get this precept about the bread of Mawath. It's in Matthew. See if it actually it's not loading here. You get it on Achiam.com. It says Slakia. Let me jump over there real quick. All right, it says 10 views. 10 views. When I click on it, it says 1 view. All right, it says 10 views. We're not ignorant of devil's devices, but anyway, I digress. The brother Mawath's precept, St. Matthew 24 and 22, says, and except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved. So I can read it properly. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. That's why the time just flying by, man. We're already beyond halfway through the year. So it seemed like just yesterday, the brother said a lot of U.S. military will AWOL. Khan. He went on to say, wow, Jake's them getting persecuted so harsh in the army. They're running. Jake's are treated like crap in the military. Khan, I remember back then, we were fighting these devil's wars. They used to make us ride in the back of the bus like Rosa Parks and shit. So-called Rosa Parks. Okay? And then they made the Buffalo Soldiers. They've always used us as guinea pigs for their agenda, man. It's like the Tuskegee experiment, okay? Just like these other experiments, like the movie Netflix is about, which is called They Clone Tyrone, which is a must watch, man. I'm about to watch that a few times. Because I further expose the devices, the satanic devices of Esau, Edom towards the children of Israel. But you cannot deceive the very elect, because we're already onto you devils, man, and you're going down. Okay? Okay, and Yahushua is going to make you cop up the spoils of the elect, of the nation of Israel, and give it back to us in Joel the 20th chapter. And then you go into captivity for 1,000 years before you're eradicated off the face of the earth. That's just prophesied in Revelation 20 chapter, man. So I'm going to end it off on that note and pray that this lesson was further edifying, exhorting, and comforting to the elect who tuned in and may end up tuning in, and give all praises, glory, infinite honor to my power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom is the God of the living, Abba Nawa, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahushai, Baruch Kodash, meaning our praise to the Heavenly Father Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten and anointed Son, Yahushai, and the Holy Spirit, whom was our strength and our redeemer, and our light and our salvation. Also want to go and utter in the same tongue, Mashana Kabawadim Lahasakwanim Shal Galabarika, meaning double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, the true shepherds of Israel, along with the like-minded Sequani will occupy across the four corners of the earth, also pushing the sound doctrine, faith, truth, sincerity, and enduring affliction within these temptations, like as a sound soldier in Hamashiach Havashai. Okay, Shalom honor salutations to Bayashad Abadad, the house of David, representing 144,000 elect governing body, along with the rest of 1/3 elect men, women, and children of Israel. All right, with that, the Baba Khan is the spirit, you know. Scripture says in Jeremiah 2nd chapter, this word is flowing water. Just when I was getting ready to say a Baba Ball that the brother put on the comment board. You can't make this stuff up, man. So with that, I'm gonna leave this to Baba Ball DTA soon and very soon, due to these last few prophecies commencing. I'm leave this off with the curse against Esau, Edom, Babylon, and the wicked. May Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Havashai, Barach, Kodash, Babakshah, Shalak Sawapa, Al Adawamium, Wa Rayam, Wa Nashim, Wa Abiding, Wa Haragim, Wa Mashapadim, Al Kal Adawamium, Wa Babal, Wa Amalek, Wa Matazayim, Wa Gawadim, Wa Bibinawa, Babakshah, Tawada, Timia, Aman. All right, Shalom to your elect. On to the next one.